Cariello, and this is a Brazil IT sponsor session. Brazil IT is not a company, it's an initiative sponsored by the Brazilian government under Softex, the Software Association of Brazil, and Apex for trading promotion. We are here with Renata Marques from Whirpool to present a case of implementation of change management and why it was important for Whirpool to have tools for the adoption of new technologies. It's something I heard yesterday, Peter Sondergaard talk about culture and how we need to add culture to our IT initiatives. We in Brazil believe that culture is strategy for breakfast. So it's more about how you do it and the human side of technology. Renata, thank you very much.
Thank you. So I have the mic on, right? So good morning, everyone. So here, although we have Google tools here in the highlights, we will be talking much more about culture than the tool by itself, okay? So I will share with you a little bit the case that we implemented in Whirpool and how this is affecting the culture and how we use this to really change the culture in the organization. So just to give you a little bit of background of what Whirpool is. So Whirpool is the biggest major appliance manufacturer in the world. We have 93,000 employees, present in 170 countries, and we have annual sales of 21 billion per year. So this is the global company. These are the brands that we love. So probably most of you have one of these brands. So who don't have? Who don't have? So we have more than 17 brands, and recently we just acquired this Yumily company. Yumily is a recipe digital platform. So in the future we are discussing all the business case and how to connect with our appliance as well. So we had also acquired the Indesit in Europe. That's a big company in Europe. So we have different brands. And here is the figure of Whirpool in Latin America. So in Latin America, we operate in 90 different countries. We have 11,000 employees. And we have these brands in Latin America. In Brazil, Brastemp, Consul, and KitchenAid. And if you look in Brazil, I know that there are a lot of Brazilians here. 8% of households has one Brastemp or Consul product in their home. So 8%. So it's a very strong brand in the country as well. So as I mentioned, I will talk a little bit why we implement, how we came with this Google G Suite implementation. So everything started with the strategy, right? So at Whirpool, we have the strategy, 4 pillars in our strategy. We have product leadership, brand leadership, people excellence, and operating excellence. On the excellence layer, it's how we used to work. So what's the culture behind? How people behave. So we decided to create a program called Winning Workplace. And this Winning Workplace, what is about? We were investing a lot in terms of a winning environment. So it's the work environment, how we work, what are the tools that we offer to our employees. If we have open office, so all the environment by itself. We have the winning culture and winning tools. So I'll talk a little bit about the winning culture. What's the culture in the organization? Culture starts with the experience, right? So all the experiences that we have foster some beliefs. So then we started to believe in something because you have this experience. And these beliefs take you to take some actions, influence you to take some actions. And the actions is what you promote the results. So this is the regular pyramid. Sorry, of the culture, right? So experience, beliefs, actions, and then you have the results. And this is what we did with the Google tools. We selected Google as a tool because we understand that with this tool, we could generate some different experiences in the organization. And with this experience, people will be able to believe in a different things like collaboration. So with the tool, they can collaborate much more, and they will see the results that is much better than they working by themselves. So this was basically why we choose Google. Another reason was regarding the cloud first strategy. So at Whirpool, we have as a GIS or IT strategy to cloud first. So one of the concerns in the organization is all about security, right? I go to cloud, but what about the security? So we decided to implement this tool that is touching all the users in the organization, but all the computer users in the organization, and also to break this paradigm of security. So this was another thing that helped us to drive this change. So these were the results that we were looking for. You know, why change the culture? Because we had different results. If you don't change the actions, you'll not have different results. So we would like it to become faster in decision making. We would like to have more accountability, engagement of the organization. Would like to increase the productivity at work, and being more performance organization, and also be able to work anywhere, anytime. So with Google, we are working anywhere, anytime, in your shopping kiosk, with your mobile device, so anywhere you can collaborate as well. So, and then comes to our mind, okay, it's time to change all the tools of the user tools, but why not having a different tools? Why Google? So if you look to the back to 1980s, we had this process, right? You create a document, or you produce some documents, so then you mail this document, someone comment, and then we consolidate, right? This is the process that we have back in 1980. If you go 10 years ago, what we did, we basically changed the tools, right? We started to create things, we started to communicate through emails, we started to comment, so reply the email, someone comment and reply, and then communicate, and then someone had to consolidate. So by the end of the day, the last years, we changed the tools, but we didn't change the process. The process was exactly the same, right? So, and this was something that really creates some barrier to move fast, because we believe that these tools, this automation could help us to be faster. This was our belief, but it was not a truly collaboration tools, right? So, we started to rethink, okay, we need to change, we need to work in a different way. So with Google, we adopted Hangouts as well. So Google Hangouts is basically all the users that we have uses Google Hangouts for meetings, so you have a much more meaningful meetings, and it's more personal when you can see the face of the people. We also can get results faster, so we use forms for surveys. So as soon as people respond all the surveys, we already have all the analytics and everything consolidated. We don't have to consolidate any survey. We use to collaborate from anywhere, as I already mentioned, so from your tablet, from the mobile device, from your phone, from your computer, and everybody together. So here you can see everybody, you know, co-working and co-authoring the documents. So that's why we decided to select Google. So more than a tool, we were thinking about changing the way that we operate and change the culture inside the organization, leveraging the collaboration and to be faster. So it's here, as I mentioned, I'm not focused on the tool by itself, but with Gmail, I will just highlight two things here. Gmail, it's unlimited. So we used to have, before Gmail, we used to have Lotus Notes. So a lot of problems with the consolidation, replication, backup. So now it's, besides being very mobile, we also have unlimited storage. The Hangouts is a big advantage at Whirpool. So we reduced a lot all the travel expenses as well, because if it's just a simple meeting that you have to have the face-to-face, but we don't have to work together for a long time, we replace it and we are using Hangouts. And printing is another advantage. So from anywhere you can print in the cloud. File storage, I arrived here. I have a good example. I arrived here. I was looking for my presentation in a Gartner platform or something. This is what I had in my mind, but it was not. So I just accessed my account and accessed the presentation here. So it's very accessible. And as I mentioned, now the Google Docs, sheets, slides, and forms is all the co-working thing that's very beautiful to see how people started to collaborate and really using the diversity to create something different, you know. Sometimes we have some presentation and I have to have a legal department approving my presentation. I have to have in marketing making sure that all the logos and everything is compliance with the company standard. I have to have the content. So what I do is just create the template, share with the organization, and everybody can work together. And by the end of the day, it's ready. You know, you don't need to think about all the version, what's the most updated one, and everything. So this is very nice. And Google Sites. So Google Sites, I have one example. We used to have some Google Days with departments in order to leverage the knowledge of the Google tools. And I took a HR department to the Google to understand more about all the tools. In 50 minutes, they mapped more than 70 opportunities of projects, 70. And, you know, how we can, you know, request a vacation, form me for this, form me for that. So they identified 70 opportunities of some work that they used to do manually, and they could automate it by themselves just using the Google tools that they have. And they created, by that time, it was a half-period workshop, but they left Google facilities with their website to post some reports and KPIs for the leaders. So nowadays, HR has their website and was created by the user, was not dependent on IT, and it's very useful for the organization. So this is another thing. It's we can use standard tools to avoid some shadow IT, because sometimes, you know, you have some people that contracted consultant companies and start to create things outside of our standard, create shadow IT because they would like just to optimize some operations and they don't know that they have a tool to do that. So it's very self-service and easy to do it. So, talking about change management and humanization. In this area, what we did, although Google implementation was a global project, but we adapted all the change management program was a local program. So we defined the change management country by country, considering all the cultural aspects of the organization, of the users, of people, and so on. So here we had the support of Ilegra, that's here with us as well, that helped us to create a program. First, to make sure that our users were very comfortable with the implementation. So what we did, we had the early adopters, so 3 months in advance, we trained out the IT department, and we identified these change management actions. What are the areas that are very dependent on sheets or spreadsheets? What are the areas that we have systems that are integrated with emails? So we started out this assessment to understand the impacts, so 3 months in advance. Afterwards, we trained Google Guides. So each department used to have an expert of Google. So we trained them, we defined them as a focal point of Google, and they were very proud of that and very engaged with this project. And then, just after 1 month, we communicated and trained all the users. And it was really a success history. 1 month after, we already have 89% of people evaluated the implementation as a very satisfied with that. So it was really something impressive, because I think that we created this environment of confidence where people, although there was a lot of change management involved, they feel comfortable with the tools. And we had this engagement of these early adopters to support most of the users. Still talking about change management, we had some actions. So the Google Guides used to have identification. So people used to know who are the Google Guides, who I should look for if I have questions. So we didn't centralize in IT. It's not IT that will be respond all the questions. We use it also for support. We adopted this collaboration environment, so everybody collaborate with everybody. We also had some campaigns, so we connected wash machines. We started to we play some games with the wash machine. So we had 2 wash machines. If everybody press the button at the same time, they can have a gift. So just to show how collaboration is fun, how collaboration is good, this type of thing. We had some hangouts with between plants, and the hangouts was installed in the refrigerator in each plant, so people can open the refrigerator and see the other plant, the other side. So it's something very fun, that we created this winning environment, so people will not face the change as a bad thing. We face the change as a fun and very helpful thing. And we also celebrate with chocolates, with cupcakes, so a lot of celebration as well. So when we create this environment, we are talking about humans, right? So what happened? I think that if you ask me, but nobody was resistant to this change. Of course there were a lot of people resistant to the change. But when we created this environment, these people are kind of neutralized by the other people, by the majority that was very happy with the change and very supportive with the change. So nobody, the people who are resistant to the change don't talk, don't say anything. They just try to engage and join the rest of the team. So it's really important, this change management thing. So we have much more opportunities, and this is an ongoing project. So nowadays, if you look at our statistics, we have 36 million of emails per month. Video Hangouts is almost 1 million per year that we have in terms of video conference and Hangouts. And we have 50 million files shared in the drive. So, and you can ask, okay, but what does it mean? So, it means that in the past, and it's not so far, information used to be power, right? So who has information has the power, so nobody share, nobody communicate. This is my file, I will communicate, but I will not share. So here you can see that people are sharing information and we are contributing much more. On the video hangouts is another example. And now we are also exchanging our strategies to remove our Polycom video conference and started to expand the Chromebox video conference. So this is another thing that is much simpler, easier to use, and cheaper as well. So, in order to keep the things going on and keep the momentum, making sure that we still have stories to talk to, because the company is live, right? We have turnover, new people coming, so how we can keep this space of Google as a collaboration tool to influence on the company culture. So first we have to inspire using, sharing success cases, playbook. So we have a site with all the success cases using Google. Recently here in Miami, we had the Irma hurricane and the Miami team, and Miami is the headquarters for Latin America countries. So the Miami team used the Google Sheets to share their status, to ask for help. So they have all the contacts of the team, and they had the evacuation plan of each family. They have the status if they need help and need help. So, and this is something that they had in their phone, and everybody was sharing and everybody collaborating and supporting each other. So it's about tool, no, it's about behavior, but they used the tool to leverage that. So we used to share these histories just to let people also think about another example and another application as well. So rethink our process. So all the time we are rethinking the way that we operate. Leverage new Whirpool's Google solution. So there are tons of APIs, there are tons of other solutions. So we are also exploring more things to connect it to our ecosystem. So we have, for example, a partnership with Nest for connected appliances that is supported by Google as well. Support our team to be more efficient and innovation focused. So this is what we used to do. And for that, as I mentioned, I have these immersion days by department, taking them for a workshop, show what's going on, what we can do. So it's a continuous work. So here is, for technical change, it's easy. So I know that most of you are IT leaders, right? So technical change and technology, it's the part that is the easiest part. We have a procedure, we have a recipe that we follow and we'll be successful. But the problem is how we influence on people behavior. This is the much more complex portion of the equation, right? So we must have a consistent change management and humanization program to make sure that the people are engaged and supporting any type of technical change, because by the end of the day, the technical change will interfere on their behavior. So, and they needed to understand in advance what are these type of changes, you know, and how it will be impacting their day, positive or negative, and then embrace the case. So we have some minutes here. If you'd like to ask any question. Yes?
I would like to know how you manage this in the different countries. And I would like you to tell us about how you manage this in so many countries and so many cultures, And if you can speak in Portuguese some for your folks here.
In Portuguese. No, as I mentioned, technically we had a central team taking care of the technical implementation. Of course, each regional team was providing inputs in terms what were the technical impact, because the integration with the old tools were very particular in each country, in each region. So we worked as it's a regular global project, regional people combining with the global execution team. But on the change management, is what I mentioned. We had a company, in our case it was Elegra, that helped us to understand what's the culture here in this organization. So they had a couple of interviews with the leaders, with some employees, to understand what was the current culture in the organization. And we did this in 90 different countries for Latin America, and really understand, okay, in Brazil we are a little bit more mature in this sense, so let's do this campaign, this type of campaign, because we'll be working better. In Argentina, I think that people will demand much more attention in this sense, because they don't have some maturity in terms of leadership support. So let's work on this other action to help them to engage to the cause. So was very customized country by country to make sure that we have a team engaged. Did I answer your question? Not in Portuguese. In Spanish.
Going a little bit more deeply about the technology by itself, normally when you are talking about these collaboration tools, the users from different business areas, normally they have access to different systems. They do some data exportation. Mm-hmm. They prepare the information and put in a layer of sharing the information, like Google Spreadsheet and Google Drive, etc. Are you already using direct integration from Google platform directly to the data provider systems in order to avoid exportation activities? So I mean, instead of export a report from ERP, you can directly from the Google Spreadsheet or Google Docs plug in directly to the system and getting the information, preparing your filters in order to get more faster the information and to handle the graphics instead of asking for someone from BI team to please prepare my report, prepare my dashboard. How is this experience?
Yeah. So we still have a challenge with mainly with SAP integration. So we have some systems like IBP, that's for financial planning, and we have BPC for financial planning, IBP for planning, for demand planning, and we still don't have a natural connection to Google. So this is in the Google roadmap to be developed. Because of course there is a duplicated work, because they have to export to a spreadsheet and then move to a sheet. So this is something that's pending, and it's at Google roadmap. Any other question? And there is another challenge. We still have in the organization a lot of people that, mainly in finance, a lot of people that are crazy for VBAs, macros, and all this spreadsheet automation, right? So as I mentioned, our journey didn't finish it yet. Now we started a campaign that's Next Mile, where we'll be focused on those people. So in Brazil, we created a BI community, and we invited these BI experts from each area, because normally they are in the BI team of each area, but they are experts on macro, on Excel macros. So we invited them. We also provide some training on Google Scripts, so they can understand how Google Scripts works and be more comfortable to move as well. So it's important to mention that our strategy in the beginning was we will not prohibit anybody to use Microsoft Office, okay? But we are not upgrading this tool as well. Our version is still 2007 of Microsoft Office. But it was a natural movement, because I don't like also this policy of prohibiting, but people are moving naturally. Now we started a campaign to ask people, okay, we'd like to really move, so we can uninstall your Office. So we started this campaign, but this campaign by itself is not enough. We have to train these people, mainly people who are very dependent on Excel VBAs. Okay.
May I have a question? Me.
Yes.
What were the steps that you use for implementation of human change management? You start with a small team, a big team, you have champions. What are the actual steps that you create for the influencing people to use and to move and to transform for a new technology?
So we had these steps of early adopters. So we started with people that adopted the technology in an early stage, and these people trained another people, and then these Google guides were the people who spread out this new technology in the organization. In terms of change management, we had a multifunctional team. So we had people from different areas participating and collaborate on how we should implement that. So what were, as I mentioned to Miguel about the regional and cultural country by country, we also had by department some people participate, people from communication area, people from HR, and people from different areas helping us to create this change management program. So, but started creating this confident zone, so people are confident with the technology by itself, inspiring people, okay, this is what you can do with this tool. This is, all the possibilities that we have. So we started to inspire and making sure that they have support when they need. So.
Renata, congratulations for your presentation and good energy that you always present this kind of thing. So first, how this project connect with Whirpool digital journey? And if it's clear, it's connected or not?
Yeah. So it's clear. In order to surf in this digital journey, and we talked about during these last days, we talked about this cultural change, what we needed to surf in this wave, right? We needed to change people's skills, mindset, culture, right? So, and this is just a small seed, a small step to go through this direction. But if the company is not transparent, if the company don't collaborate, if the users don't use to collaborate, we will not get there. So for sure, this is totally connected with the digital strategy, with the strategy, with the company strategy by itself. So operating excellence and people excellence is are two of our pillars, and this is totally connected. So we must create this culture of engagement of the team in order to be able to compete in this market that has a totally different pace from the pace that we used to live. More questions?
I have one more, Renata, if I may. Renata, in the first part of your presentation, you talk about the philosophy atrás of this. You talk about experiences, beliefs, and so. Can you go deep into that?
Yes. One example. So, let me give you an example. So Fernando yesterday during the dinner, he said, when I was a kid, I hated eggplants, right? He said, oh, every Sunday I used to go to my grandmother, and every lunch we have eggplants. I hate eggplants. And then, so this was an experience that he had when he was a kid. And then he believes that he hates eggplant, and his action is always denied. No, I don't like eggplants. And then the result was he never eats eggplants, right? So on another day, Fernando was in a happy hour and had a bite of something that he didn't know what it was, and it was an eggplant. So he had a different experience, and based on that, he changed his belief. He said, oh, I thought that I hate eggplants, but actually I love. And then he changed his action, and yesterday night he was eating a lot of eggplants. So it's just one example, but it's how things work. We have to promote some experience so people will believe in a different thing, and the belief will influence on people's action. That is what promotes the results. So if you want to change the results, we have to change the base. We have to change the way that people have their experiences. Sorry, Fernando, about your eggplants. It was the first thing that came to my mind.
Renata, please, could you share with us if you extend this solution for your ecosystems, for example, resellers, service providers, and so on? How do you work with them?
Perfect. Great question. I didn't mention that. So this is another advantage of this co-creation or this tool. So nowadays, with our suppliers, for example, of course, we have the formal portal for suppliers, but until we have all the RFP and all the proposals of suppliers, there are a lot of working that we work together, right? We have to define all the requirements, so let's combine here and that. So we use a lot these documents to prepare these templates and work in four hands, with suppliers and Whirpool's collaborators to collaborate and accelerate the work. So with suppliers, with customers as well. So there are customers that are very friendly with the Google tools. So we used to share a lot of documents and information using and collaborating with them.
And I can testify on that because I work with Allegra as a supplier of Whirpool, and Allegra use Google Hangouts and Google Docs with me as well. So all this planning of the presentation was done using Google Hangouts and Google Docs and everything.
Yeah.
So we
besides
that.
The documents are also the Hangouts. So it's so easy because we just select in your calendar, and you can allow people that's not a Gmail user that they can enter. And now we are testing the functionality of dialing, so people can dial in the call as well. We are the early adopters testing this tool, but so that's why we don't need to have other systems like Polycom, so we started to converge everything to Google platform. Any other question? So thank you so much.